Compass Mining is your trusted partner in Bitcoin mining. Whether you're investing in one machine or thousands, our customizable solutions are tailored to meet your needs. We are your experts in Bitcoin mining, offering a platform where individuals and businesses can purchase hardware, host machines, and access a range of ancillary Bitcoin mining services. We also specialize in large-scale site development and data center operations. Discover more at compassmining.io and see how we can power your success today. Hey miners, welcome back to the channel McNallie Money, the official home of power mining analysis. Here we have it, Friday midday, the final day of trading before Trump's inauguration ceremony on Monday. The market is actually closed in observation of Martin Luther King Day, and this is leading to what Anthony and I feel could be a major short squeeze setup for the Bitcoin miners. We're going to be covering that in today's video. Before we get into it, take a second, smash the like button, you guys. Big help to myself and the channel. Anthony loves it. If you're not already subscribed, McNallie Money, feel free to join and let us know in the comment section below how you're feeling about the price of Bitcoin, the miners, and a potential short squeeze situation heading into next week's trading. Now, with that being said, let's get into today's video. Okay, Anthony, so that's right. Friday afternoon here, the final few hours of trading before Donald Trump's inauguration ceremony on Monday. The markets are closed for Martin Luther King Day, and this is really shaping up to look and feel like a potential short squeeze for the miners. That's going to be the topic of today's discussion. Before we get into it, though, we did want to quickly bring up the price of Bitcoin and the mid-morning market update. Bitcoin hitting as high as $105,000 US this morning, starting to pull back a little now, though.
Yeah, it's had a nice little run this week. Started the week with a drop, and then got down to about 90,000. So that was people's opportunity to buy some Bitcoin and, at a good price. And like you say, within 4 days, touching 105,000, that's a, 16, 17% increase on Monday's position. So things can happen really quickly during the week. The mining stocks themselves had a good opening today. Lots of green across the board. Likes of Marathon Digital, TeraWulf's doing well. CleanSpark, IREN, Cypher, Hut, Bitfarms is having a good day today. So a lot of those, big market cap companies doing really well. So yeah, really, really positive ends of the week. And there's a few things that have happened that you can explain, which may be giving some sort of like ease of suppression we've had on some of the mining stocks of late.
Yeah, most definitely. So the first one that comes to mind today is the annual option expiration day for all of the January 2025, January 17th contracts. We've got some visuals here, Anthony, talking about the volume of contracts and the percentage of those that were calls. So obviously a lot of activity in the market today as a result of that. I've been busy this week unwinding my option trades. We covered that just a few minutes ago in our members only video. And luckily, like you say, with the rally over the last 3 days of trading, a lot of people holding those call options in a very favorable position to where they maybe were Monday or Tuesday. Now, the other big one coming up is obviously the inauguration event on Monday. So we're now only days away from this event. The market itself is closed. And Anthony, you just mentioned in our members video, but you're expecting, along with myself, Bitcoin to really rally throughout the weekend into this event.
Yeah, we've got 3 days now where the market's going to be closed. The Bitcoin prices, rallied ever since the results of the election. And this ties in also to the comments that Donald Trump made at the Nashville conference, the Bitcoin conference in Nashville back in July, which we were both there as speakers at that conference as well, and heard him, from literally, 50 feet away from the stage, tell his position on Bitcoin, which was really favorable. Senator Loomis was there as well, and she came after Trump and gave, had a bill in her hand there. And so, this is the Republicans now getting ready to do something. Obviously, we'll give him time to at least get to the office before we start signing documents and all that. But there's an expectation that, early in this tenor of this 4-year cycle now that we'll hear something positive about, potentially a Bitcoin strategic reserve.
Yeah, we certainly will. So, leading into the main event here, the short squeeze setup, we've been talking for weeks about the miners, the fact that the share price has been suppressed. Maybe it's not matching up with the price of Bitcoin itself. We've also heard, and in interviews this week specifically, these companies have started to deploy a lot of various option strategies as part of these convertible notes, these capped calls, and looking to really take advantage of some of these market dynamics. Now, as a result, the short position on a lot of the miners that we cover has really trended up over the last few weeks. And this visual was actually taken from Box account on X. It's a few days old, but you can clearly see the Bitcoin miners, anything considered over 10% short interest is sizable. Most of these miners are in double digits, specifically Wolf, Cypher, Marathon, Riot, Digital, many of the companies that we cover exclusively on the channel, not to mention MicroStrategy up over 21% as well. So if we take a look at the requirements for a short squeeze, you need an unexpected price increase, a positive catalyst, and a short interest percentage above 10%. So Anthony, as we start to think about inauguration weekend, the fact that the markets are closed Monday, a positive catalyst, potentially any rumors, words, news about the strategic Bitcoin reserve, and these short percentages we just looked at really shaping up for a very eventful 72 hours here. Now, in terms of Bitcoin price, you talk about unexpected price increase. We've put together a list of all the various different Bitcoin predictions in 2025. And as you've said in prior videos, if we even come close to a portion of these predictions, we should be getting that unexpected price increase required for this short squeeze.
Yeah, we've got a list of predictions again from Alex Thorne, who's head of research at Galaxy Digital, and yeah, there's probably about I don't know 15 to 20 on there, starting from 150,000. So that's the low side of the prediction, 150,000, and that's the real Donald Trump's X account, so 150,000 there. And then going all the way up, I'm going to say the average is probably around 200,000. There's quite a few at 200,000 there, but all the way up to $1 million, $1 million in 2025. That would be amazing. That would be life-changing for a lot of people out there who've been buying Bitcoin over the last 3 or 4 years. Um, that sounds high from my perspective, but 200 to 250,000 seems fairly reasonable. We've seen a lot of senior finance people come onto the news channels like CNBC, on Fox, on Bloomberg, and when they've been asked, and they get asked more regularly now about where they expect Bitcoin price to be, I've seen quite a few quoting sort of between 200 250,000. Then you get the real, what I would say is that the real bulls, the Bitcoin bulls out there, Michael Saylor and the gang, and so they'll have a different view on this. But I think 200 to 250,000 seems reasonable. I, I I just we said before on the podcast, I can't see it following other cycles because so much has happened this last 12 months. The ETFs have been relentlessly buying. Even in January, we had about 4 or 5 red days, but they were eaten up in like 2 days or less than 2 days of some of the big green days. So, as many times as the ETFs are having to sell Bitcoin, and yes, they will buy or sell Bitcoin on a daily basis, depending on how the fund is managed. And it's just been a relentless buying. Over 32 billion of Bitcoin was bought in the first year. That's a significant number. Bear in mind, every day at the current price now, probably between 45 and 50 million Bitcoin is produced. They're buying 20 times that on some days. 2 days last week, they bought 20 times the amount of production. You just can't. It's not sustainable. You've got now one public company and one investment company with an ETF have between them over 5% of every Bitcoin that's ever going to be mined already. Already. MicroStrategy didn't start buying Bitcoin until about 4 years ago,
Yeah.
and they've already got 2.5% of the whole position that's ever going to be mined. 450,000 coins, only 21 million going to be produced, not 21 million and one, 21 million. And we know because of, there's an expectation that probably 15% of Bitcoin has been lost. We've covered some of the stories that the chap in UK who bought Bitcoin many, 2011, 12 and had it on his drive, and his drive got thrown away, and he's trying to pay the council hundreds of millions of dollars to try and let him dig up the tip there, and that's just one of probably 1,000 different types of stories that people have lost the keys. So as much as it's secure, it really is secure. There's no sort of like you lose your keys to it, you've got a big problem. But going back to these predictions, from my perspective, I think 200,000 is achievable. 250,000 is probably at the high level. And I'd be happy if it gets to 150,000 this year. So at the low level, 150,000 sounds really good as well. I mean, we don't want it to rally to, 300,000 or 400,000 and come back down to, 100,000. We want to see sustainable growth continuing throughout these next few years as adoption occurs.
Compass Mining makes Bitcoin mining accessible to everyone. Start mining in as little as 48 hours with our turnkey hardware, online and mining directly to your Bitcoin wallet within 2 business days. Find out more at compassmining.io and get started now. Yeah, we most definitely do. So if we come back to our list here, unexpected price increase, I guess we'll put the unexpected in quotations, Anthony, but I think for the general public, Bitcoin really is coming out of left field, especially as we're now surging over 105 going into this weekend. The next one is this positive catalyst. So we talked about this a bit yesterday on the channel. Obviously, Trump coming into office is a catalyst on its own. The administration he's assembled, many pro-Bitcoiners, but this specific piece about the strategic Bitcoin reserve, they've been virtually silent on this over the last few months. We've seen Dennis Porter and many of the local state governments really following up and pushing this strategic Bitcoin reserve policy forward, attempting to front run the federal government, but Trump, Elon Musk, the entire federal team really hasn't said much at all about the reserve. Now that is leading to me thinking that they may be slow playing this and trying to really avoid putting the limelight on this Bitcoin reserve prior to their purchasing. On Polymarket, they are now predicting a 48% chance of a strategic Bitcoin reserve in 2025. And if you jump over to Kalshi, they're actually showing a 65% chance. That's a 50% increase over the last few weeks. So people are definitely adamant and bullish about this strategic Bitcoin reserve. And if I were in Trump's shoes, I think the best and most opportune time to do that would be as soon as possible.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's certainly getting the wind in the sails now. We talked yesterday about the 11 or 8 of the 11 states that are, publicly going down the route of setting up a strategic reserve. So they'll all go through for a vote in their own houses there. And it's just like it seems to be more of a domino effect. Every week we're seeing more and more public companies, pension funds, even companies not even in the Bitcoin business, just using their treasury to buy Bitcoin. And we're now seeing more and more tables of companies who hold Bitcoin. That number's growing. They're having to sort of like relegate companies off that table now that don't have sufficient to be on the table. So that's a change from where we were, a few months ago. So adoption, we're starting to see adoption, but there's a long way to go. I always use that analogy of the iPhone. We're at iPhone 3 at the moment, and if you look in the stores, you can buy an iPhone 16. Once we get to iPhone 16, it really is game over. So we've still got a bit of a way to go, but we're certainly in a better position than we were 12 months ago. These ETFs have certainly made us aware of that. And if you listen to the financial news on literally any channel now, when they're starting to talk about indices, currencies, Bitcoin is also mentioned in all those top news items on literally every half an hour. And on CNBC, I used to watch a lot of it in 2021. Then I switched off for a few years. They didn't have a clue about Bitcoin, and they were asking the same question to everyone now. I've noticed they're starting to even change their tune a little bit now. They're starting to understand that this is more real than it felt 2 or 3 years ago. So a lot of positivity around that, but we just need to to get, if I went into my gymnasium in the UK and asked, how many people understood what Bitcoin was, and I've done it actually, to be honest with you, it was still at that point where not as many as you think really understand it. So we just need to get the message out there to those people, get them to understand it, and we'll be in a lot better place.
We certainly will. So in summary, you guys, we've got an unexpected price increase currently taking shape. The Bitcoin miners have rallied the last 3 days in a big way. We've got a massive potential catalyst coming on Monday. The market is closed in observation of Martin Luther King Day, meaning the shorts are unable to cover. Plus, we've got Q4 earnings coming out for the miners. And of course, the FASB accounting treatment of their HODL. So a tremendous amount of positive catalysts, which in our opinion could lend itself to the perfect setup for a short squeeze in the Bitcoin mining stocks. But we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below, specifically on your predictions for next week. So Anthony, I'll kick it back to you for any closing thoughts, but truly the moment we've been waiting for here over the last few years on the channel, and should be a very exciting weekend and start to next trading week.
Yeah, big weekend, big Monday. Hopefully the impact will be positive once the markets open on Tuesday morning, especially for some of the stocks that we cover on a regular basis, which is the Bitcoin mining stock. So yeah, looking forward to next week. Everyone have a good weekend.